Hey guys, welcome to the Movie Champs review. This is actually the spoiler review for the Justice League. And if you haven't already noticed the sign, I don't know what's wrong with you.
If you stay, it's your own fault.
Yes, this is going to be a spoiler heavy review of the Justice League. Because we just did the spoiler-free review, and we were very much restricted.
What we could talk about.
What we could talk about.
But like they say in Call of Duty, weapons free.
Yes. So we are going to have a no-holds-barred spoiler-rific episode of the Movie Champs Reviews. So let's go ahead and get started. We don't really need to talk about summarize the plot, because we've already seen it. So, anyways, I'd already mentioned in the spoiler-free episode that some of my favorite parts of this movie were the characters and the way they were portrayed by the actors. I thought Ezra Miller was great. I thought he was hilarious. I thought one of the two biggest standouts really in this movie were Wonder Woman and Aquaman. I thought they were both really well. I mean, like I said, there is no problems here. I thought we could have done better with Cyborg and his story. Some of his I wish we were to get a little bit more of his backstory. We could have used at least about 15 minutes more of him in the beginning. And then Bruce Wayne and Batman, excellent. Ben Affleck.
Yes, very much so.
So those were some of the strong points with the characters and their development. I mean, we really could have used a little bit more of Flash's backstory too, because I was a little confused with what exactly was going on with him and his father and his.
Well, they really don't really have to go into detail with the Flash's backstory because he has a show.
Yeah, I don't watch that show. I don't watch television.
Yeah, but it's but they feel that if you're already watching Justice League, you know who the Flash is.
This is a movie.
I understand that it's a movie, but it is. Do you want it? It's kind of like telling the same story twice.
Yeah, I guess. But
yeah, if you already have a show that's already dedicated seasons to telling this, not only telling this story, but also resolving it on the show, why tell the story again in a movie?
I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority here. I don't watch.
I didn't have a problem with them not telling the Flash's story. Cyborg, they could have fleshed out a little more.
Definitely.
Yeah, they could have showed him some clips of him in high school or something as the star athlete before the accident.
See, I mentioned that in the spoiler free that the 2-hour thing was a blessing and a curse. The blessing was that we were able to move along to the action pretty quickly. The curse is that we missed a lot.
I imagine that the extended version that we will get, because let's be honest, every Zack Snyder movie that he's done with Warner Brothers so far.
Well, I heard that there's definitely like a 3-hour cut of this movie.
Oh, I no doubt there is, because like you said, they mandated that after it was made.
Yes.
So I don't doubt there is a 3-hour cut.
So if there is a 3-hour cut, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm intrigued to see it. If you do get the 3-hour cut, I may come over and watch it.
Oh yeah, man.
Because I probably won't buy this movie when it first comes out. This Justice League, Batman vs Superman, Man of Steel, and all those movies will be that curiosity. Ooh, this is on sale by later down the line.
I go out usually opening weekend or when they come out on whatever Tuesdays or whatever. I used to go out at midnight and go buy movies, but I don't do that anymore. I was a young buck back then.
Yeah.
Because I actually remember, I think you were with me when we went and bought Dark Knight on Blu-ray.
Oh yes, I was with you
at
that
midnight.
Night. Yes,
we were just getting off at Kmart.
Yes, and we went over to Walmart and got that movie. We were like, yeah, because Dark Knight was a really good movie, and not just a really good Batman movie, but just a really good movie.
But yeah, we're back to Justice League. Anyways,
League.
What I also really liked was two worlds that we didn't get to see a lot of. We didn't get to see a lot of Gotham in Batman vs Superman. We got to see quite a bit of it, a little bit of it, in Justice League, and I thought it looked really neat. It looked very much like I imagined Gotham City looking like. It felt like almost a bit of a throwback to Tim Burton's Batman,
which is right down to Danny Elfman's theme.
Yes,
I think that was intentional.
Oh yeah, but that that was probably the best Gotham we ever had. It was much different than the Gotham we got out of Nolan's Gotham. That was the least Gotham-y, or Gotham that we had, but it was still a cool one.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely preferred.
Nolan was more grounded in reality.
Yes, I prefer the more comic look of Gotham, but which is what we sort of got. I mean, it was still a little bit of had that Snyder fog that I don't really care for.
I also did enjoy that one scene while Diana was telling the story of Steppenwolf, how we had a peek at a Green Lantern.
Oh yeah,
Just a peek.
Just a peek.
Just a peek, but he was there. A lantern was there, and then they also showed the ring zooming away. Where does that ring go?
I don't know.
Does it go to Abin Sur?
Maybe.
And then, which in turn leads him to crash land on Earth and give it to Guy Gardner. Not Guy Gardner. What was the Hal Jordan?
Oh yeah. Hal Jordan.
Yeah. So we could probably get Hal Jordan, or do we skip Hal Jordan and go right to John Stewart or Kyle Rayner or even Guy Gardner?
We will find out. I actually thought we were going to get a Green Lantern in here, like that was like something that they were holding back. I never. I mean, we sort of, like you said, we got it a little bit, but I was expecting a whole lot, like a legit Green Lantern in this movie. But nevertheless, where is Wonder Woman from again?
The mascara.
The mascara. It looked very different than it looked in Wonder Woman.
Well, you got to remember, time has passed.
That's true. That's true. It's been
because remember when we saw the mascara in Wonder Woman, it was during World War One.
Right.
So this is 2017's the mascara.
Okay.
So things can change, and even though time may pass differently on the island, technically 100 some odd years has passed since Wonder Woman.
Right.
So it can. The change didn't bother me that much because 100 years has passed.
Right. So, and then we talked about it earlier, a little bit of Aquaman and Atlantis, and how we got to see. I don't remember the girl's character. Mera. Yeah. We got to see her. I thought we were going to get a lot more of her just from the way that, but I guess we'll see a lot more of her, obviously, in the Aquaman movie
if it gets made.
But maybe there was. I think if it gets made, it's already in production.
But you got it. But they also said that
it's finished.
If it gets, that's the thing. If it gets finished, because they also said that this movie, pretty much the rest of every. Did your phone?
Yeah, it's
went to lock mode again.
Yeah.
But anyway, the rest of the DCEU could pretty much hanging on by what Justice League does. Where did they continue with the connected movies, or did they just go back to one shots?
Right. I'm fine with either of those, actually. I would be totally fine if they didn't connect to the movies anymore and just did those one-off movies. But
see, after you give us the Justice League, we're going to want another one.
Yeah, that's true.
We want to see the Justice League versus Darkseid now.
So, I don't.
Or the Anti-Monitor, or something, you know.
I'm wanting to jump right into the after credits scene, the second one, the one that you didn't like, that you said you did not like.
You mean the one with not Lex Luthor and Deathstroke?
You still think that's Lex Luthor's son?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bald head. I don't care. They gave him the bald head in the suit. That is Alexander Luthor and not Lex Luthor.
Okay. I don't know. Either way, I liked him a lot better in this than I even just in that few minutes that we had of him than I liked him in Batman vs. Superman. You didn't like him that much?
No, because he still has that annoying Joker-style voice that does not fit Lex Luthor.
I don't know. Well, I found him
when I think of Lex Luthor talking, I pretty much think of the devil talking. Smooth, always calm, always collected, always know what to say, and then when the things don't change, he still remains cool, calm, and just goes on to something else.
That's true. He does seem the portrayals that we've had of him before is usually a very adult, mature person, where this one seems like an immature weasel, which isn't at all the Lex Luthor that we're used to or that we know. So you might be right. This could be Alexander Luthor,
because that is a plot point from one of the books that he's trying to do what his dad did, and then his dad comes back and just pretty much takes back over where he left off.
My problem with the timeline with that is the only thing that's messing up that part of the timeline is Superman and Lois Lane. They should have already been a long time ago. But I mean, they did kind of hint that they've been married. That we kind of missed over that part somehow.
No, it's not the fact that they were married. It was the fact that I think he was going to propose to her before he got killed.
Probably, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So I think she just wore the ring out of respect for him after his death, which was a dumb move, regardless. But it is what it is.
Yeah, but that would be the only thing that would mess me. But that's the one thing I like the idea of having an aged Batman and I guess sort of whatever if you want to call it an aged Superman. But that would just mean that we've missed all the cool stuff with Lex Luthor, with Joker, and all that stuff.
But you got to also take into account that this Superman not that long ago. Well, he landed when he was a baby, so yeah. That does mess things up a bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then the timeline in Man of Steel should have established. They didn't even have a Lex Luthor in Man of Steel.
No, they did not.
So
Zod was the villain.
Yep. So, I don't think I don't know.
I think this is the Lex Luthor we got, so it's the Lex Luthor we're going to get. So, I'm still going to call him Alexander, though. Until he proves me otherwise.
Hashtag not my Luthor.
Hashtag not my Luthor. Not my Lex. But on to Deathstroke, though.
Yes.
I thought his costume was pretty decent.
Decent? I thought it was neato.
I think the one they have on Arrow is actually better.
Oh, boy. Again with the TV shows. I don't even know about the him on there.
Yeah, because the Deathstroke's costume... It in the post credit looked kind of cheap.
I guess I'll give it that.
It didn't come off as imposing as they wanted.
It seemed a little bit generic.
Yeah, it looked very generic, like they went to Party City and got all the pieces.
Even down to the hair color didn't seem natural at all.
No,
it was. But I do like that Joe Manganiello is going to be playing him.
Oh yeah, that was a good call for the casting him.
Yes, so. Maybe we'll get it right by the time he shows up. What were they hinting at as far as a league of their own?
Oh, the Legion of Doom.
The Legion of Doom.
You ever heard of the show Super Friends?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they were hinting at.
Okay.
Just as Batman was hinting at the Hall of Justice with the table with 6 chairs, he was hinting to the Legion of Doom.
Well, back when they were the very first script that they had announced for the Batman movie, it was supposed to be Batman going against several bad guys, like a Legion of Doom type. I'm wondering if that's when we're supposed to see them next.
I don't know.
Because, I mean, I know...
Because sometimes there are scenarios where Batman has to face more than one villain at a time.
Right. I mean, it was supposed to be some sort of, like, Arkham style, I don't know.
Haven't heard anything about that, but...
So like I said, that was back when, like, right after Ben Affleck was even announced as Batman, and he was supposed to have his own Batman movie. Mm-hmm. That was the Batman movie that they were pitching.
Yeah,
at the time.
I'm not really going to break down and say that that was what was it? Oh, man, I just lost my train of thought. We were just talking about the Batman and how they're going to do. I don't think we're going to see the Legion of Doom in the Batman. I think we're going to see a lot of lower tier Batman villains teaming up to take on Batman, but not the Legion of Doom as a whole.
Okay. Well, we definitely knew that Deathstroke was supposed to be in that one of the script rights for.
Yeah, Deathstroke. That's why they teased Deathstroke in this one because in a way that's like a Batman villain and a Superman villain coming together.
Yeah. So, I don't think that they were hinting at a Justice League 2. I definitely don't think that. So.
Oh, they're sowing the seeds to it.
Yeah.
That was the equivalency of I'm trying to say, but like at the end of Age of Ultron, what was the post credit at the end of Age of Ultron?
The Age of Ultron was that the one? No, that wasn't the one. Whenever Thanos put on like.
That wasn't fine. I'll do it myself.
Yeah. I don't know.
That was the end of Civil War. The end of Age of Ultron was.
We're not talking enough about spoilers.
Huh?
I said we're not talking enough about spoilers.
Oh, let's go back to the movie then.
Yes.
Okay. Henry Cavill is Superman.
Yes, I wanted to get to this.
Okay. The fact that they killed him in Batman vs. Superman was stupid.
Right.
The way they brought him back in Justice League was also stupid.
Yeah.
But once he comes back, he's awesome.
See, I've heard from several people that there's some people that liked that the way that they brought him back, and then there was definitely some people that absolutely hated it because they were more familiar with how he's been brought back to life in the comics, and they said that they had a lot of source material that they could have worked from that they just didn't because of maybe time.
Okay, and now the bigger question is, if this is the way y'all brought Superman back, why tease the floating dirt in Batman vs. Superman?
Right.
Why give us that tease that he's going to break out on his own when you still use the same goo from Batman vs. Superman that made Doomsday?
Right. Yeah. So, I from somebody that doesn't know anything about the comic books, I thought it was still stupid.
Because the way they've done it in the books before is like Doomsday, Batman and Superman pretty much fight, and Superman pretty much beats Doomsday down bad. I think he pretty much beats him to death, I think. But then Superman succumbs to his injuries at the end of it.
Right.
And then they do the funeral and all that. But then they revealed that he actually wasn't dead. His heartbeat just was so faint. It was just such a faint heartbeat that everyone thought he was dead.
Wow.
But then he had, like, at the Fortress of Solitude, he like built all these different little robots and things since when this story occurred, and they dug him from the earth and took him back to the Fortress of Solitude to heal him back up. And then I'm trying to remember what happened next. And then there's a lot that goes on with that story.
Right.
But pretty much Superman comes back to fight off a threat, but he's not at 100%.
Right.
So they give him like a special suit that helps him absorb the sun better since he's not at 100%. And he also has like a ray gun he can use as in the case of emergency, because he doesn't have all his full power speed because he's not fully healed yet. He doesn't have all his strength, his flight, his speed, or his ice breath and all that. So he has to like be a little more smarter for what he does because he's not fully healed yet.
Dude, on the subject of Superman, and I cannot even, because we didn't talk so much about Superman in the spoiler-free review, we happened to go missed this minor major detail. The editing out the mustache. Not very well done. Did you notice it at all?
You know what? Until you said something about it, I totally forgot they had to do that for him.
You didn't even notice it in the movie?
No.
Oh my gosh, dude!
And I was sitting front row.
No, man. Oh my.
I was like, I'm like how far you are from me?
On an AMC screen?
Yeah.
Dude, what the heck, man?
That's how packed my theater was.
Dude, okay. Well, I watched it.
There was only seat left.
I watched it on my economy theater seating, and I noticed it, especially from like the very first scene, the opening scene, where it was like from some kind of cell phone footage video or whatever they shot. You can see his lip just moving around unnaturally. It seemed very poorly edited. And then there were some other shots where even at the end, that post-credit scene, you can see his face unnatural, like doesn't look like Henry Cavill's face. There was at least there was less scenes where it was noticeable for me than there were scenes that. There were more scenes where it was noticeable to me than there were not scenes that were.
I didn't notice anything wrong with it at all.
Man, that's real. I was looking out for it, is what it is.
I was aware of it, but I wasn't looking for it. I was just looking at the performance.
That's where it happens, because I had already known about it and I was looking for it. I was like, I want to know where it was. So. And
then you since you were looking for it, you found it.
Yes.
Where someone who wasn't really paying attention didn't notice.
Okay. So I guess that's fair then, because
I knew they did it, but I wasn't even really looking for it.
It was in the very front of my mind whenever I was watching it. I said, I got to see this.
But back to Superman's return from death. it was kind of cool the way they did it. When they first brought him back, it was like, is he back or is he like different?
Yeah, my favorite part about that though, prior to them bringing him back, was Bruce Wayne's reasoning for it.
Yeah,
and him even saying his realization that Superman,
it was more human than he was.
Yes. And I thought that was really cool and really well written.
He said he's more human than me.
That. So his reasoning for it was him being
he grew up
part of the world more than he was.
He grew up. He loved. He had a job. All things Bruce Wayne never did.
Yes.
So, and like he said, the world needs Superman. The team needs Clark.
Yes.
And that was a pretty cool touch, but they could have handled it. The execution was like,
it was rushed, and then his plan for Lois. At first I thought it was kind of a cop out, but then I kind of forgave it whenever they did get to the farm and stuff.
mm-hmm.
I thought that part was kind of cool. I just wish that we had a little bit more with Bad Superman, but it was still pretty.
I thought it was kind of cool how Aquaman noticed it first.
Right.
Like, he ain't back. That ain't. He's like, what are you? And then just as soon as Aquaman was noticing something was wrong, Cyborg's arm turned into the cannon because the suit realizes they were in
right.
danger too.
Yes.
Everybody, like the two on the ends was like he was like, Aquaman's like, he's scanning us. He sums up, and Cyborg's suit was like, yeah, something is up. We better defend ourselves. And Cyborg was like, no, don't do it. And the suit's like, nah, bro, I got this one.
Right.
I thought that was kind of a cool touch.
Yeah, that was real. I really like that part.
And oh yeah, the way they that one scene where when he headbutted Wonder Woman, and he headbutted him back, and so then he flew a little bit, then headbutted her again. I'm like, oh
yeah.
Oh.
See, that's what I wanted, a little bit more of the conflict between the Justice League, and we didn't get a lot of that. We got a little bit of it, enough to be for it to be satisfying.
Oh yeah, it was very satisfying.
I just could have used a little bit more.
I felt we got enough of it because that wasn't the point of the movie to do Batman versus Superman 2.
Well, yeah. Well, no, I'm not talking about like a battle. I'm just talking about. Well, I'm talking more. I guess I should have said more of the small conflicts between them because they're not supposed to just go ahead on this mission and go and work perfectly together. I like the fact that they had some clashes of personalities and ego.
Mm-hmm. They actually had to learn to like each other.
Yes. Which was really cool because they all seem to have different morals and all that stuff. But the only thing that they can agree on is that we need to get this mission accomplished.
We had to stop Steppenwolf.
So yeah, it seemed to be the only thing that they can agree on. But
then once he came to his senses and everything and became Superman, he was Superman.
Right.
The whole time they were like it was weird. It was cool how they set up his return too, because they were fighting Steppenwolf and the Parademons and all this and all like that. And then just when you thought they was out, and then what did Steppenwolf say?
Which one? Which scene are we at?
When Superman returned.
Oh man, I don't remember. It was cool.
Steppenwolf had said something, and he said it's something about truth. Steppenwolf said something about truth. Yeah. And then Superman came up behind him and said, "Well, I believe in truth."
Yes.
And then he came in and said, "I also believe in justice." And then he punched Steppenwolf in the face, and I was like, "Superman is here!"
Yes.
Finally, it took me 3 movies, but I got the Superman I've been wanting to see. He was cracking jokes. He was punching. He had a crack of a smile. He was saving people, and it was funny when he was saving people. Oh, I meant to mention, the Flash, Batman had sent Flash to save civilians, and then Flash went to go save the civilians. When Superman arrived, they went to start a strategy, but then Superman could hear the cries of civilians. Yeah. They said civilians, and they flew off, and he met the Flash and said, "Okay, you take this side, I take the other side," and this is all going down while they were inside the Speed Force.
Right.
So then he flew away. They all went their separate ways. The Flash finds a car full of a family stuck in a truck and pushes them out to safety. And then he looks out to the difference. Superman is just flying a building of civilians across the cross. I'm like, okay, that's how Superman would do it. Kudos, movie. Kudos for that one.
Yeah.
And then at the end, And then at the end, like when Cyborg was trying to disconnect the mother boxes together,
Right.
it's like Superman. It said, "Is there going to be a lot of blowback?" He said, "Yeah, cause I like being alive now."
Yeah.
And then after he did it, and they separated the mother boxes, Superman said something really funny. He said, "I take that back. I wish I was dead again." And this Cyborg was like,
I could feel my leg, and I don't know why.
Said my toes hurt, and that doesn't physically make sense.
Yes.
Why do my toes hurt? Because he has
That's
all robot body. And I thought that was funny that right after that, they actually had a moment of levity, and I thought that was very funny. That was very cool that they had that moment there.
I'm glad that it was with Cyborg too, because he would have just if he plays that robot type the whole time, it was going to be probably annoying. So I was glad that they worked a joke in there for him.
Oh yeah, and I also really enjoyed that they worked this classic Booyah into.
Oh yeah, and Bruce Wayne or Batman had a pretty funny one too after with Superman whenever he was going at him and he picked him up and he goes he uses the line that Batman had used on him before, that "Do you bleed?"
It said, "Do you bleed? You will."
Yeah, and then he whenever he sees Lois, he just throws him over his shoulder.
He just throws Batman away like a used napkin. And then Batman rolled over and said, "Yeah, I'm going to bleed after that one."
Yep, I'm bleeding.
Yep, I'm bleeding.
Oh, I loved it. And then or the part, or that part with him and with Flash, and where he's like, "What's your superpower?" "I'm rich." Yeah.
But the funniest, and I do mean one of the funniest scenes ever, is when Aquaman was like, they were talking about the possibility of going at Steppenwolf and all this, and then Aquaman was talking and stuff, talk about I don't want to die because I'm young and I got stuff to do and all this and all like that. And then he started talking about like I'm young and all this and all like that. And they all heard this go, and they point. He's holding the lasso of truth.
Oh yes, so that was so good.
So Aquaman is actually telling them how he really feels, and now he's upset. And then the Flash is getting ready to say something about it, and Aquaman turns to him and say, "If you repeat any word of this,
yes,
I will introduce you to every piranha I know."
Yes.
And then the Flash turns and says, "I stopped listening after we're all going to die."
Yes.
I thought that was a very funny moment too.
Oh man, or the when I told you about my favorite parts were some of the conflict within the group.
Mm-hmm.
There was the really rough one with Batman and Wonder Woman. Whenever they were having an argument about, she was telling him that man, I forgot what they were. I know that the argument was about the way they were brought.
Bringing Superman back.
Yeah, but they were bringing Superman back.
And then he brought up Steve Trevor.
Yes, he brought up Steve Trevor, and she got real mad about that. And then and about how she just cut herself off from the world after that.
Yeah.
And she was judging him off of his, what was his, I don't even remember what his moral dilemma was.
His moral dilemma was that you didn't let, doesn't Superman deserve rest?
Yes,
something like that.
That's pretty much what they were arguing. But then when Batman brings up Steve Trevor, Flash had turned to him and he said, if she kills you, we're gonna cover for her.
We're gonna cover for her.
I like that line.
Yeah, Ezra Miller was actually a pretty good Flash.
Yeah,
he was geeky, he was nerdy, he had something off with him, and they played the Speed Force like nervous energy that was just constantly going through him.
Right.
Like someone with that kind of speed would constantly be kind of twitchy at all times.
But there was trying to remember what the other one was. I was trying to bring up. There was the scene with Batman and Flash when they were going into the first time they were meeting. I guess this was Steppenwolf. Oh, and Cyborg was there too.
Yeah.
So they were going, and Steppenwolf did just kill somebody. I said earlier nobody died, but he did just kill some random person.
He killed a scientist.
Yeah, he killed a scientist, and then he was about to kill Cyborg's dad.
Uh-huh.
And I liked how, what's his name? Flash. No, Flash.
Ezra Miller.
Yeah, Ezra Miller, his character. The fact that he didn't just go and try to become a hero. There was a part where he actually had legitimate fear of going into that room.
He said, "I've never been in battle before.
Yes.
I usually just push people and run away."
Run away. So I liked that Batman just told him
just save one person.
Save one person.
No, I didn't say that line right. Just save one person.
Yes.
And
he did.
And he did. And then he said, "What do I do after that?" And he says, "You know what to do."
Yes.
And then he just kept saving people.
Yeah.
And then there was a really cool moment when Steppenwolf was when they were fighting Steppenwolf, and he was like, him and Steppenwolf are falling down. Wonder Woman and Steppenwolf are falling down a hole, and then Wonder Woman was reaching out for a sword, but she was too far out to grab it. The Flash ran around the cylinder, got to the sword, and just tapped it with his finger to put it into her hands.
Right.
I thought that was a pretty cool scene too.
Yeah, I was glad that it didn't feel too much like the Quicksilver stuff with X-Men. It felt like its own thing.
Yeah.
Which was really cool because it could have very easily gone that way.
But can we just talk about something real quick?
What's that?
What was up with the way he was running?
What you mean, like the slow motion thing?
Yeah.
He was like, look.
Where he looked janky janky and awkward. What was up with that? I guess they were trying to say that he's running so fast that it looks awkward because even at this high speed, even though we're looking at it at such a slow speed, he's still moving faster than we can see.
And he still doesn't have a lot of good control over it because they're almost half the time he was tripping at the end of it or slamming himself into a wall.
I think that his running style is intentional because he's just going.
Right.
I think in later movies he's going to refine the skill.
So he's gotten good at going fast, but he has not gotten where he can go through these obstacles and dangers and stuff like that. He hasn't figured that out.
He's not the Flash we know yet, but he's getting there.
Right.
I think that was an intentional choice to have him still green with his powers.
Yeah, so.
I thought that was a cool little touch.
Yep, and then we addressed this in the spoiler-free one, the negatives, which were the CGI. Very bad, very poorly.
DC, Warner Brothers gave, and I'm not gonna blame DC for this. I'm not blaming DC for this because DC just wrote the books. Warner Brothers, what were you thinking with this CGI?
I feel like it had a lot to do with the fact that they were spending all their time reshooting the movie rather than
cleaning up the movie.
Yes, cleaning up the movie, rendering all the special effects and all that stuff.
Yeah, they spent more money on the reshoots than they did on the CGI.
Yeah, so that was almost extremely clear. And the other problem I do have with it is that it doesn't feel like a finished movie. Not like a movie should, where you're satisfied with the beginning, middle, and the end, as far as a good movie. Where this one, you're forgiving a lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why I graded it on a curve earlier, I guess, admittedly. Because, I mean, it was an enjoyable movie, but you definitely the flaws are there. They're prominent, but because of the quality of the previous stuff, we have to forgive that.
We had to forgive that because, at least I didn't leave mad or disappointed.
And because you and I know a lot of what went on behind the scenes, we can forgive some of that what happened too. But for the average moviegoer, I'm curious how they receive this. Because they're just watching this, not knowing anything about what's going on.
Because there was one scene in particular that I really didn't understand what were they thinking with. It was the scene where Flash had killed a parademon. And he was covered in parademon blood. Right. It looked like they literally took a cardboard cutout of the Flash and poured glow-in-the-dark yellow paint on it. It looked that bad. They put like black light-sensitive yellow paint on a Flash cutout.
There was a part at near the beginning. I don't remember exactly the scene. I know it was like right after the Flash and Bruce Wayne had met, where you can see a very clearly CGI Bruce Wayne face. I don't know what it was for. I don't know if the shot was just messed up and they just had to correct it that way. But it was, for me, it was very jarring because it was just like a very quick, sudden, like almost 1 second maybe at the longest. But it was so noticeable to me because I was just looking. I was like, "Why'd they do that? Why'd they do that?" I don't know. So I don't know if like they had to have somebody stand in for him to cover that, and then they just hit the face over top of it or what. But it just was very jarring for me. to when I noticed.
I didn't know there's anything wrong with the CGI faces or anything.
Yeah, we'll have to wait for the Blu-ray to come out, or when you go to your second viewing, I'm sure you'll see it again.
Yeah, I'll probably see it with some other people again or something.
Because I do know quite a few people that have seen this 2 or 3 times, and it gets better for them every time they see it. So
the movie just came out Friday. How did you see it 2 or 3 times?
These are the people that have already. These are not
normal people.
Not normal people that I'm talking about.
I get it. Okay, I understand. We call those people. I won't say.
Yeah, yeah. These are not the normal people that I'm referring to. But yeah. For me though, like I said, I might be grading it on a curve, but I gave it a 7.9.
And I gave it a flat 7.
So I definitely would recommend going to see it. Definitely in a theater. Obviously, why am I recommending this? You obviously have already seen it if you're watching the spoiler review.
Yeah.
So guys, with that being said, let us know what you thought about it.
Put it in the comments below. Send it on Twitter or whatever.
There's something we did not cover here. I'm pretty sure we covered most of everything. We covered all 3 acts, I think.
Yeah, we covered pretty much everything there was to talk about.
And you did say you liked that first post-credit scene, but I think, like I said, you said you liked it because you didn't like the second one.
I actually liked the first post-credit scene because it's actually a reference to an event that happened in the books.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they actually did have race like that before.
I wonder how long it takes.
Because but in the books they do it for charity.
Oh, okay. So they just race around the world for charity.
Yeah.
And that seems like an unfair thing. Well, I guess it's got to be taking a little more of a toll on the Flash than it does Superman.
Actually, it's the other way around.
Really?
The thing about the Flash you need to know is, a lot of the times when him and Superman race, he slows down to make it fair.
That's pretty funny.
Because in the Injustice books that they released that tells the stories of the game, like Superman was chasing the Flash one time because they're on opposite sides of the line now. And the Flash said, Superman said, it was chasing him. He said, and Superman said, if we've raced before, I've won.
Right.
And then the Flash turned to him and said, those races, they were for charity, Clark. And then Flash is just gone.
Oh my gosh.
Like just showing him, I slowed down for you. I'm not anymore. I am gone and you can't catch me.
That's fun.
Yeah, so pretty much when you see Superman and the Flash racing for fun, Flash is making it a fair fight.
See, the one thing about Superman, or the scene whenever we had the bad Superman or the just awoken Superman, I really liked the part where Flash was running, and then Superman, like everything's going around slow motion except for Superman, because Superman's matching his speed, and he's super confused about it. I thought it was
when he had like Batman and Wonder Woman in his hands, and he and then Aquaman was coming at him, and he was standing there, and you just see Superman's eye look to the side, like, oh, Flash, you are next.
Yes.
And then he just dropped the rest of them like bad habits and just took Flash out. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny too.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. But man, what was the other one? There's another one. I don't know, but yeah, I think that was it. I'm blanking. There was another scene, but yeah, that was. I like the movie. I like the movie.
And I noticed something too that maybe you may have noticed.
What's that?
Superman's suit seemed brighter than it did in Man of Steel.
That's exactly. That was. I think that has to go with the color grading. They used a totally different color grading for this than they did.
Everybody's costume seemed brighter. Yeah. Like they actually were
more cartoony,
more comic appropriate.
Yes, that's why I liked this color grade better than the Snyder color grade that they used. That makes everything look oversaturated and not so bright and gloomy and dirty. So yeah, you're right. This was a much way different look for the suits and everything, which might be why we thought dead shots or Deathstroke. Golly, there's so many people's name to remember.
You named a Suicide Squad character and then a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yes, Deadshots cartoon looks so generic.
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke. Golly, I still got it wrong.
No, yes.
You know what? I would have thought that there would at least been a small reference to the Suicide Squad in this movie. They're going to try to erase that movie off the face of the DCEU.
I don't think they're going to erase it out of the DCEU. There was just no place to name drop it.
I know, but they could have worked some way. There's some way that they could have worked that in there. But because what was the exchange between Bruce Wayne and
Amanda Waller?
Amanda Waller at the end. That could have somehow been brought up.
The only reason why you didn't see the Suicide Squad in this one, there was nothing for Waller to gain from it if they went.
Just to sort of joke on them a little bit, like, oh no, we don't need to bring them into this. We can't. They can't. This isn't a mission for them. Somehow,
there's going to be times where you see the Suicide Squad again. Just trust me, it's not the last time you see the Suicide Squad.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah, there's supposed to be a Suicide Squad too.
Yeah, but the way they can do the Suicide Squad, they're supposed to do it comic accurately. The Suicide Squad is not meant to take on super targets, like they tried to make it out in this movie. Suicide Squad is supposed to be, okay, we're going to have you infiltrate something no government is supposed to be in.
Right.
We're sending you in because we want what's in there. If you die or get caught, we disavow all knowledge of your existence. If you run away, we blow your head up.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what Suicide Squad is all about. Like one episode of Back to the Justice League Unlimited, they called in the Suicide Squad not to fight off an evil threat or do anything like that. They wanted to get something from the Watchtower. They wanted to get something from the Justice League Watchtower in space.
Right.
So they had them called. They had to orchestrate a situation where they knew where they teleport the workers that work on the watch station up from at, which I think is in the farm, Clark's farm somewhere. They teleport them from there up to the Watchtower, so they know when the shift change occurred. So they went to the spot, attacked the ones that was going to be beamed up, changed into their uniforms, and then got on the Watchtower and did what they had to do. Because they did that because they created a situation. There was something going on where Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, where all the heavy players were called somewhere else, so they weren't there.
Right.
So like Martian Manhunter and a few other the lesser known people on the Watchtower had to stop the threat of the Suicide Squad on the Watchtower. It was a pretty cool episode.
Sounds like it.
Mm-hmm. And that's what the Suicide Squad is supposed to be used for. Because Deadshot was there. They used Captain Boomerang was there too, but they did them differently than the interpretations from the movie.
Man, I wish we could do like an episode of the show where we say how we could have fixed this movie, as far as like of what kind of threat they should have faced. Like a villain is the biggest problem I have with this, with villains like these, because like I said earlier, they definitely had to have some kind of supernatural being, I guess, supernatural villain, and it has to be sort of like the end of the world type villain. But I don't know how you do that without it being cheesy, like it was.
So are you talking about Justice League?
Yes, Justice League.
I think you could have done something simple where you could have had like They could have just easily brought in like two Batman villain, a Superman villain, and teamed them up and try to destroy the Justice League from the inside.
Right.
Try to destroy it before it even gets formed.
Because the problem I have with movies, with the way this movie, the ending worked out, and it's the same exact problem that they had with Suicide Squad, same exact problem they had with X-Men Apocalypse. Is this big giant light into the sky thing that they have to do that leads to nothing.
No, it does not. It leads to nothing.
It does not lead to nothing, or it does lead to nothing.
It leads to nothing.
Yes. So I mean, they did that in all those movies. That's always been the problem with those, is that it just seems to. I guess they think it looks cool, but it has absolutely no reason, no rhyme or reason for being there. And then I mean, this was almost just a CGI version of Apocalypse from X-Men. Mm-hmm. And
right
it was just about as threatening as Cara Delevingne's Enchantress and Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
Where it was
minus the gyration, of course.
Yes. But I did think it was kind of cool where they worked in the parademons. As much as I hated the parademons, I did like the part where he finally actually started to become afraid, and then those parademons backfired on him. So I did like that part of it a little bit, but I mean that was more of just a forgiving thing for I've adjusted to how terrible this villain is. So I mean. They could have if it was more they'd use practical effects rather than a completely CGI. This wasn't even motion capture. This was all CGI villain, and it was ridiculous. It was terrible.
It was he did not look good.
So I'm wondering if that was part of the reshoots, or because apparently there were some tweets that people had been sending, or obviously sending out on Twitter, about people complaining about about Steppenwolf and the villains and all that stuff. And Joss Whedon was liking those tweets. So
yes.
I'm curious how, if he's credited for writing the story. He wasn't credited as the director for this movie, but he was giving a story writing credit. If that was, it's like, well, so who's to blame? Is it you or Chris Terrio for these bad villains?
I'm thinking you got to remember, you got to take into account that Steppenwolf was announced as the villain long before Joss Whedon stepped in.
So this was a Snyder decision.
This was a decision that was already made before Whedon even stepped in the door.
Yeah.
So I can't fault Whedon for anything they say about Steppenwolf, because that decision was made. That decision was made back at Batman vs Superman. So
true. So that was Chris Terrio the writer of Batman vs Superman?
I can pull down the Blu-ray and find out.
If you want to do that real quick, because otherwise that was probably a Chris Terrio thing.
1 second, everybody.
I do remember early on in this show complaining about Chris Terrio being the writer whenever they announced this movie.
Chris Terrio and David S. Goyer.
Okay. So I'm also not a big fan of David S. Goyer as a writer, for certain. So, but I do like when Chris Terrio, because Chris Terrio, I remember what I was complaining about. Chris Terrio was also going to be writing one of the drafts of the Batman script, which is no longer one of the drafts. Because I don't have a problem with Chris Terrio as a writer when he's not writing for DC movies. Because I think he also is one of the main writers for almost all of the movies he does with Ben Affleck. I'm not so certain if I'm right about that. I think he's the one that wrote like Argo and all that stuff like that.
Okay.
So he might even have an Oscar on his mantle.
Okay. But Steppenwolf was a bad choice. Very one-dimensional. No charm, just bad guy quote X, bad guy quote Y.
Guys, I am so good with my movie knowledge. Okay. Sorry. I was right. He won an Oscar for Argo.
All right. Bragger. But anyway, you braggart. But anyway, Steppenwolf was so one-dimensional. It was like prototype Big Bad.
Yeah.
No cunning, no nothing. He just showed
up.
No
threat. There was no threat.
No.
I didn't feel like anything. There was gonna be any.
He didn't feel like. He didn't feel like at any point like he was really that much of a threat. When things really got tough for him, he just bolted out before he really got into a skirmish anyway. So there really was no threat to him. You beat him up enough and he'll run away.
Yeah. So, and also, if you were wondering why I have a problem with David S. Goyer, he's also the director of Blade Trinity. So that's enough. And The Unborn and The Invisible, all that stuff. So yeah, okay, he's got a history of bad movies. So anyways,
yeah, we understand that. All right, but no,
we will. Actually, I think should we go ahead and wrap this up? Because I can't think of anything else to talk about for this thing.
I really can't think about much to talk about neither.
I can talk about what should have been there, but that's not helpful.
Something for another day.
So, I mean, we've already talked about what might be in that extended cut of that movie, which I'm hoping happens.
Do you think the extended cut will still be rated PG-13, or will you think it'd be R?
I think it has to be PG-13. I don't think that it's going to be rated R. The only reason why the other one was rated R was for Batman killing people, and I don't think he did that in any cut of this Justice League movie.
I was thinking more about what the parademons may do to people.
I don't care what the parademons do to people, and I hope that there's no more of them in the extended cut. I'm hoping it's actually the extended cut is more story than it is
more parademons.
More parademons.
More story, less fight scenes.
Yes.
Because the fight scenes we did get were pretty good.
Yeah, they were pretty good. I mean, they worked the best that they can fighting those invisible monsters that
didn't exist.
They didn't exist.
Fighting those tennis balls on sticks.
Yes, tennis balls on sticks. So, did we even? I mean, yeah, we commented on what's his name, Cyborg, because that was the only CGI that actually kind of worked for me, because that actually was motion capture.
And on all the promotion, he was the weakest looking in the promotions,
yes.
But he wound up looking the best in the movie. How does that work out?
Well, the one critique I would have for him is that I wish that he did more than just work as a computer for the group, because that seemed to be all they used.
But that's kind of what Cyborg does.
I know, but he's got the Terminator's body. He should have been blasting away things and
But we're gonna get more of that, because at the end he's showing that he has control.
Yeah.
Because the reason why he didn't do a lot of that in this movie, because he was learning how to control basically the mother box technology inside of him and not let it control him.
And the fact that this is his, I want to get the guy's name right.
Ray Fisher.
Ray Fisher's first actual movie. This is his first credit on his application or resume, I guess. So he made me feel the most emotional out of anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said.
The way you first see him just standing in the window, standing in the room, looking out the window, that was kind of cool how they introduced him.
Yeah. So
like, we didn't have to go through the whole watching him be created. We sat through that for Batman vs. Superman. Right now, he's just a man trying to process what happened.
Yeah. And since they really, the way that the editing worked, we literally, I say literally as an exaggeration, but this might even be figurative. Given 2 minutes at the beginning of everybody's story. He did a lot in those 2 minutes with just that motion capture that he was as a robot.
Mm-hmm.
He did a lot with his 2 minutes.
Especially that one scene when he started flying. He said, I couldn't do that last night.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of a cool touch. Like, he's learning that he's learning new stuff every day that he wasn't able to do the day before.
So that's, and the way, like I said, with the way that this is edited, that's the other problem I have with this as a movie, because it did feel like those were just. I mean, it was like you can take any scene out of this and it wouldn't. I don't know. You can get a story just out of every scene, like it was a short video, like a short movie, a bunch of short clips put together rather than it being a whole movie. It felt like. So I don't know. It is what it was.
It is what it is,
and I wish that I do wish it was a more coherent movie. But I'll take what I can get, and what I got was.
They hope they'll do better the next time.
Yes.
Hope they take this as a learning.
One director, one director
who knows what they're doing.
Yes.
And give one thing I do enjoy about the Marvel Universe.
Yes.
Say that so they understand me. Marvel Universe, because we say it enough on the show.
Right.
Might as well give them one more. Even though they they have a core theme to all their movies, they let different directors have their say on the film.
Right.
Every film feels different, even though it still connects. Like, you watch Thor Ragnarok. It's distinctly a Taika Waititi movie.
Right.
But the bits and pieces still flow well to all the other Marvel stuff that's already done. Where here, there is no connective tissue.
Right.
This is a Zack Snyder movie. This is a David Ayer movie. This is also a Zack Snyder movie. This is a Zack Snyder. You could tell which director directed what, and it just feels like their movie.
Yes.
With no connecting tissue.
That's very true. And I mean, I like that they're able to, even with the bad rep that they get, they're able to get some really good I don't want to say really good actors, but pretty much most of these actors were, with the exception of Ben Affleck, were kind of just getting their start out. Like Gal Gadot, Ray Fisher, obviously. This is his very first movie. And Ezra Miller was mostly known as an indie actor. He hadn't done anything major. So, I don't know. But they get some really good actors. So, I mean, I just wish that these directors can
coexist better.
Yes. So, if this is the last DC EU movie that Zack Snyder has his name attached to, because I'm not convinced that he did most of those scenes in this movie. I would be fine. I mean, his vision was somewhere. It just isn't. It can't work for what DC needs. He likes to tell very long stories, and he likes it to be his vision, and he likes that stuff. That just does not gel with what DC's needs right now.
No, they need some more. They need a more free-flowing hand than a firm one.
Yes. So, I hope Zack Snyder does something more original and outside of this universe, and I wish him well. But yeah, I'd be fine not having any more Zack Snyder in the DC universe. So I guess that's it, guys.
That's it, everyone.
So let us know what your favorite parts of the movie were, what your least favorite parts of. You can go ahead and feel free to spoil what you want. This was the spoiler episode, and you can write whatever you feel in the comments.
Yeah, all our social medias is going to be in the description below.
Yes.
Support our Patreon.
Yes.
Like, share, comment, subscribe.
Yes.
Click the bell.
Yes.
He's Movie Champs. I am Geek Champs, and our third man on the show, Zach, is Horror Champs. All of our descriptions and channels will be in the description below.
That's not our names, though. My name's Walker Cheatham.
Walker Cheatham, EJ Flemming, Zachary Cheatham. Yeah.
Okay.
And then Night Hippie Chick, if you're out there.
We missed you. Today.
Yeah.
So, hope all is well.
Hope all is indeed well.
Hope health is wealth. So
health is wealth.
Health is wealth.
Okay. All right. I'll give you that one.
I don't know.
I don't know where you were going with it, but I'll let you have it.
Yes.
All right.
I hope you're in a wealth of health.
Nope. Yes. Okay, you cleaned it up.
Yes.
All righty, and with that, we'll say good night, everyone.
Yes. Good night, guys.